everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. In the first episode, we talk about the convention, the U.S. Soccer Coaches Convention. We were on Podcast Row. We had some amazing interviews. You're going to hear all about them. Plus, the airport trip on the way back. Wow, it got litty. We went a little viral.
AOC. And in the second segment, we are joined by Melissa Ortiz, who played for the Colombian women's national team, our parcera on the show, talking about not only how good she is at soccer, but how she might replace the Cooligans one day. Who knows? Who knows? So all this and more today on the Cooligans.
Hey, this is Alexi Lawless. There is nobody in U.S. soccer that is more important than the Cooligans.
Yeah, baby!
Yeah! Let's go!
Come on!
Back from Chicago.
Son! We only hang out with celebrities now.
You know, this is a very different podcast.
That's
okay?
it.
We're two different people. Okay. This podcast belongs on MSNBC. All right.
My guy, SNBC. If you're wondering, will success change the Cooligans? Yes, it will.
Of course.
Yo, we actively changing in front of you right now.
New podcast. Who this?
Yeah. We don't know you, man. We didn't go to school with you. We're not friends with you, dog.
You ain't my mother, but I am. I gave birth to you. No, you ain't.
Nah, son. You know what gave birth to me? The streets.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Cooligans. Yes, this is a soccer podcast. I promise. We will get to it.
Yeah, no, it is.
It is. But the world is more than just soccer. Even though it isn't, it is a little bit.
I mean, soccer isn't everything. Is in everything, I'm saying.
That's exactly it. Well put, Alexis Guerrero. And look, that's why you listen to a podcast with two stand-up comedians who talk about soccer, because you're not here for just all the little passing percentage. All right, you here?
Well, let me tell you what I thought of this win.
You're here for the high joke percentage.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, because there's no other podcast with such a high rate of jokes.
That's our XJ, our expected jokes per episode, much higher than everyone else.
Okay, get Ben Bear in here to get all the stats, all right?
Right? Where is he? Where's Matt Doyle to break it down for everybody?
Welcome to the Cooligans. Yeah, we are excited. We have so much to talk about.
There's a lot. Look, it's the off season.
It's the off season. It's the craziest part of the year so far.
It's a wildness.
During the summer.
It's almost like the games don't matter. This is it. This is what it's all about.
During the towards the playoffs, when the MLS playoffs are winding down, when just soccer's going, American soccer's just kind of just quieting off. I have that mentality. I'm like, yo, Alexis, what are we gonna do during the off season? Because nothing happened. Nothing's going on.
Yeah. What are we gonna do? We're still gonna do episodes. What are we gonna possibly
what are we gonna
talk about?
We're gonna have to fill it in with a lot of and like.
And then the gods of soccer were like, hey, yo, we got you, fam. And we all know the gods of soccer are David Beckham's abs and Alan Gordon's junk in his shoe.
Okay. Yeah.
And Zlatan Ibrahimovic's ego. Those three form into one. And that's the gods of soccer.
So yes, we have so much to recap, especially about the United Soccer Coaches Convention, because I think while a lot of people were just going to little their soccer seminars and learning all the stuff, we were having it was just madness for the Cooligans.
It was. I don't think we've ever experienced something like that as a podcast. Where it was like Justin Bieber showing up at a mall.
Okay, people were going crazy. So welcome to the show. Welcome to the Cooligans. My name is Christian Polanco.
My name is Alexis Guerreros,
and we are your favorite stand-up comedians that are at the top of Madison Square Garden here, recording at the Hackensack Meridian Health Stage 17. And this is not only the funniest soccer podcast that you're ever going to listen to. This is also what, Alexis?
as per AOC, it's the damn gulliest soccer podcast.
That is right. We only associate ourselves with the gulliest of politicians out here in New York. So,
and look, to everyone who doesn't agree with her 100%, I don't care if it's 0, I don't care if it's 100. There's 1 or 2 things she said where I'm like, yo, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I like this girl's, the way she manages herself and the way she handles herself. That's exactly how my sister would do it. And that reminded me of family. All we did was take a picture with a politician who's trying to care about people. And the mentions went insane. A lot more positive than negative.
Yes.
Which I like.
Yeah, there was a lot of positivity. Look,
we got a lot of Russian bots.
We got a lot of. Look, and as someone who has been tweeted at by New York Times White House correspondent Maggie Haberman
for no reason
whatsoever.
It was like a tweet about Trump, and then at the end it was like, "Thank you, Chris Blanco."
Excuse me.
She has yet to answer why that was.
Tweet is still up. It makes no sense, and had all these Russian MAGA bots attacking me because they hate her.
Dude, the MAGA bots sounds like a terrible kids cartoon. MAGA bots
built that wall.
Yeah.
Built that.
They're coming to take away the brown people. MAGA bots.
No, shut that off.
Yo, that's why it's not on PBS.
But no, we usually start, we'll talk about that in a second. We usually start the show always by shouting at the people who show us love. Speaking of positive comments, we always get a lot of love and a lot of reviews on iTunes, and we love them. We're trying to get to 400. We're currently at 343.
Yo, you may not think this is the funniest soccer podcast in the world. Maybe, I don't know, you hit your head or something.
Yeah.
But it is unequivocal that we have the funniest reviews.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
We got to give it up to people. So here, this is a review that said.
Is it?
So speaking of good reviews and positive reviews, this is 2 in 1, right? So we have a double whammy here.
Is this the concise one?
No, it's not concise at all. So this is from Sagar Shriram Agiri. Hopefully I said that correctly, but I wanted to try my best. So by Sagar, he goes, acquired taste. This is the subject. All right. Okay. It's an acquired taste. 5 stars though.
So is soda. So is coffee.
Yeah. You have to warm up to things occasionally.
That's fine. Beer.
So Sagar says, I admit, for about 3 months since their summer tour, I tried liking Cooligans, and I couldn't.
Oh, no. Which, by the way, I hear there's ointments for that. Okay. We're going to cure that finally.
So he says, but you're welcome, Alexis and Christian. I persisted. All right, good. Female politicians, they must persist.
They must persist.
Exactly, right? So he says, like a cough medicine, like a very different and exotic beer, like a food that looks weird in a weird foreign country, and over a period of, quote, why am I listening to this? Boom. You start loving this, whatever it is, the Cooligans podcast. What makes you love it, you ask? You got to find out for yourself. Why I like Hooligans? And he says, in parentheses, my autocorrect keeps asking me to make it Hooligans. Well, yo, Siri, fix that, right? So he goes,
the damn dude just fell in love with a Siri.
leave him alone. And he says, you got to find out for yourself. Why I like...
maybe you are the kind that loves slightly ugly things in life.
Like a slightly dirty park, the New York subway, or a piece of crumbled nothing art. Cooligans is that.
This is the most disrespectful 5 stars.
I got to say, look, Sagar, I for the first 3 sentences, I really tried liking your review, but I really couldn't.
Over time,
it took me a while, but your review was an acquired taste. By the end of it, I'm like, hey, I see why people consume these reviews.
This is also sounds like the dialogue of a movie where they ask a mother why she still loves her son who committed murders. It's like, look, I understand not everyone gets him.
Nobody gets him,
but he's mine.
he's just so misunderstood. So thank you, Sagar, for the review. We appreciate it.
A piece of crumbled nothing art.
Well, what piece of trash on the street that you pick up and you're like, oh, it's the golden ticket to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
I'm gonna keep this forever, even though Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory closed years ago because of all the child deaths. Well, I have one that answers Sagar. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. This is the one I'm gonna read. It's made by Pixel Reviews Games.
Okay.
Shastic Pixel. Title is The Gulliest Show There Is.
All right.
And the review, This show is so gully. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's so gully.
Insanity.
Yo, it's wild.
People
It's so gully.
listen to one episode and they got to go to a hospital,
Yeah,
a
son.
psychiatric ward, okay?
Maybe that's what it is. Sagar is more prepared for the gulliness, so he doesn't see it just yet, but he knows he loves it.
So, all right. This is, Cooligans is long term, all right? This ain't.
Yeah, it's all about a long game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
So,
It's a Verizon, not a sprint.
so thank you for taking those 3 months necessary to get on board and fall in love. And sometimes people fall in love like are head over heels, love at first sight. That's not always the case.
Nah.
But sometimes it takes a little bit.
It takes some time, yo. We'll be
gotta
right
earn-
here. We'll be right here waiting.
we had to earn your trust, but now
We'll be right here waiting for you.
so
Wherever you go.
so let's
You
get.
never sing along with me, man.
I don't. You're a terrible singer.
Me? I know. That's why I need people to join in.
Also, my
Karaoke.
voice is completely shot.
Yo,
I don't
our
re-
voices are both gone.
I don't really
need
sound.
to-
I sound like Alexis Guerreros right now. That's what
I actually gotta save mine. I got voiceover to do tomorrow. I gotta say, well, whatever. This
we'll
is
talk.
what they're gonna get.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
So we did spend 4 days in Chicago for the United Soccer Coaches Convention. So if you don't
By
know,
the way, my wife said, "Hey, your voice is gone. Is it because you were partying so much?"
that was always that would be the concern. You'd be like, hey, well, you're having a lot of good time. You weren't doing too many Instagram stories, so I feel like you're betraying me. Okay?
Right? Maybe you were out there partying with a bunch of these, thoughts. You know what I mean? And the
Okay.
truth is, Alexi Lalas is a bit of a thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Yo.
soccer thought.
All right, he's like a little thick in the hips.
Yeah,
all right,
you know what I mean?
I'll feel it.
He got his ideas are loose.
Okay.
Yo, we must have
and he shares them with everybody.
Everybody gets
All
it.
right?
It's a little much. I think your ideas got HPV, my guy. The truth is, yo, you and I must have had each 120 to 150 conversations.
We spoke to so many people. We did the podcast interviews. We had to bring enthusiasm and energy to every conversation.
to a what is traditionally a great conference
Yeah.
or a convention,
Yeah.
but can be a bit dull because the people who go, they're soccer coaches. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're not.
You're
this-
not when you look back and you think about all your soccer coaches that you've had in your life. You don't go back and be like, man,
That dude was a party.
yo, I really wish I could have just like gotten real lit with
Yeah.
Coach Johnson.
Yeah. Old Coach Steve really brought out the party animal in me.
No, that's not what it is. It's
They're
for a
very
lot.
authoritative
for a lot of
dudes
coaches,
and
it's-
women.
It's very much a business trip for a lot of the coaches.
Until about like 5 o'clock, and then some of them get a little wild.
All right,
Okay?
we're gonna have a good time, right?
A lot of dudes whose ring fingers got an indent, but nothing on it.
Nah, man, it was incredible.
But for us, it was almost like we were a booth.
yeah.
Like we were presenting ourselves.
So, and just to explain for people who don't know, the majority of people listening to this are probably not going to go to a soccer convention.
Wouldn't suggest it.
No, it's
It's a blast.
If you are involved in soccer, or if the convention is in your city, it is like a really cool thing to go check out because one, there's a bunch of soccer celebrities there. There's players. You can see them either like see them at seminars. If you like if you are a coach and want to hear about coaching or something like if there's a big exhibit hall with like a lot of brands that work in soccer, and you can get to know more about them. You can buy some gear.
the draft.
And MLS draft happens.
Yeah. And by the way, a day pass is $10.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, if you got like a day, if it's in your city, next year it's going to be Baltimore. Are we allowed to say that?
I actually don't even know where it's going to be.
It
but
is.
maybe.
It is
Okay.
Baltimore. Like, yo, you live in Baltimore and you've always wanted to meet some MLS players and some, famous World Cup stars, and you want to meet some amazing NWSL players. I heard about a bunch of young girls that bought day passes just to meet Ali Krieger.
That's right.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, yo, you wanted to $10. Mm-hmm. You waste $10 on some dumbass, Kappa Frappa thingy. You know what I mean? With the whipped cream. Yo, go meet some stars. And they got swag everywhere. You get like free shirts and you get to play these dope games that are coming out. And
Yeah.
maybe you could put yourself inside the soccer box and figure out what the hell that thing does. Any of those things. You get to experience all that. It's a blast. If you like soccer, I mean, you're not going to go to the classes, but the convention hall, that's dope.
Yeah, so that's kind of what all of this is. But and to be clear, it's not meant to be.
It's not Soccer Con.
Yeah, it's not a festive thing per se. There's fun things to do there.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's not exactly how it's billed or sold.
Not at all.
But when the Cooligans are there,
we bring the fun.
we bring some heat out there because it was.
We bring the fun and the lack of fundamentals.
Okay, and let's just rattle off how many. Who did we meet? And just
son, top of the heap though. Your boy Jermaine Jones.
Jermaine Jones, who
when you hear this interview,
you're gonna lose.
The world might stop spinning. Yo, I suggest you put you strap your favorite stuff down on the ground. Because I'm not kidding when you hear. All I'm gonna say is, did we talk about everything? Well, I'll tell you, we asked about all of it, and he talked about all of it. And you know how we do interviews. We're not like these ESPN pros that ask a question, let him answer, and move on to our next question. Bro, we ain't got no other questions. We're going to go right to it. What? I'm sorry, did you just say this?
All right, can you really just elaborate on that part a little bit?
We're going to dig in a little deep.
We're a little curious about this restraining order.
That you just brought up on your own. Son, when you hear this interview, you're going to think that boy needs a publicist. He needs someone to lean over and put his hand over the mic and whisper in his ear, maybe you shouldn't do this.
So look, that is coming soon, and we're gonna have some fun with it to really tease it a little bit. But
we're gonna break it down the way Total Soccer Show breaks down a game.
Yes, all right. We're gonna use all the skills that we've acquired in these last couple of years doing a soccer show to really make this absolutely perfect, because it was 100% incredible conversation. But not only Jermaine Jones, Ali Krieger, who we had an incredible conversation with that you're going to love when we put that out. Kyle Martino, another really in-depth conversation about U.S. soccer that blew my mind as well. Who else? Alexi Lalas.
Kyle Martino you mentioned.
Yeah.
Ali Krieger we mentioned. Kevin Payne, that's going to be a special one.
Yeah, Kevin Payne. We interviewed a U.S. soccer executive.
From back in the day.
OG, that was,
and if you are a U.S. soccer conspiracy theorist, well then, you're going to start to feel a little right by the end of that interview. You're going to be like, I told you to put on that foil hat.
Exactly, right? Who
else? We had others.
Dustin Brandon from Talisman Caps.
Dustin Brandon from Talisman Caps, who's such a great sport.
Yeah.
He's never done a podcast
Never done a podcast. It was great.
And it was
super fun.
Yeah, the next podcast is going to do is like, man, you guys aren't roasting me at all. You guys are just asking me
the
questions.
roast of Dustin Brandon.
It really is. If you love Talisman Caps, you got to listen to this. I know you all do.
We're both rocking Talisman Caps right now. Yael Averbush.
Great interview.
Seattle Reign. Also the president of the NWSL Players Union.
And TechNet Football.
We talked about great conversation with her as well. Really, there was a couple others I can't.
Edgewater
Castle,
which I'm wearing that right now. Edgewater Castle.
Shout out to Andrew,
which is a semi-pro team just for immigrants and refugees, which is so dope.
Exactly. Super cool. So. Amazing. The next couple weeks, the Cooligans podcast is, I honestly believe, and I'm not saying, I know we joke around about being, the best of this or the funniest of that or whatever. I honestly believe the funniest soccer interviews that you've ever heard are going to be coming from us in the next couple weeks, that you're going to be hearing them.
In fact, that's a challenge. If you've ever heard a funnier soccer podcast interview or just soccer media interview, if I'm being honest, bro, you need to link it to us, okay? Because I guarantee you, just Ali Krieger alone, that girl got chops, man. That's the funniest interview we've ever done.
Yeah, she was
amazing.
She's funnier than comedians I know. That's how funny she is.
By far.
Yeah.
She shouldn't even open mic. Get on stage at a real club.
Hilarious. And that's why you listen to the show. This is a comedy show about soccer. We're not here to be accurate about stats or whatever.
Never.
We make mistakes.
The only stat we know is XJ, expected jokes. And honestly, I don't think there's anyone else. I don't think there's another show. And I'm sorry if I'm going to pat myself on the back and toot my own horn. Maybe you won't hear any music if you don't do it for yourself. There's no other interviewers in this game that could do what we did with these folks.
Okay.
That could get that personality out.
All
what are you going to ask Ali Krieger the same 7 questions? We didn't even ask her if she thinks she's going to get to 100 caps. We didn't even ask. We couldn't even get to it. That's how great the interview was.
Yeah, it was.
We asked her like 2 questions about the World Cup. 2.
But it's one of the best interviews you're ever going to hear. It's so funny. So let's recap a couple things that happened in general, especially when we got back from Chicago.
Just airport.
Just all
we
right.
Keep our eyes wide.
Okay, look, if you're listening to this, maybe this might be the first time you're listening to us, and you're like, "Hey, I saw a tweet."
Yeah.
It was from a particular politician.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What is this?"
And it was replying to these two very handsome. Which, by the way, your boy wore the shirt.
Okay.
Just in honor.
Okay.
When we talk about Gully is not just hardcore. It's just someone who stands up for themselves as well.
Yeah.
And I saw a politician walk by as you and I were waiting to get picked up at the airport, picked up by our livery driver, our black car driver. We hired a driver.
Yes, my girlfriend.
Yeah, your girlfriend. I sat with my luggage on my lap. You know what I mean? Wasn't mad special. But your girlfriend picked us up. While we were waiting for her, I saw someone walk by.
Yeah.
I think you were looking at your phone, communicating with your girlfriend.
Yeah, well, and my back was to her.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my God, and in that moment,
I turned
all
around.
three of her names escaped my mind. Just gone. And I was like, in my head, I was like, is it Gutierrez? Because I'm like, I know it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't sound right.
And names are not your strength.
First of all, I would even say it's my weakness. But I knew who she was, and I do know her name. It's just in that moment I couldn't, and I don't get starstruck ever. And this is one of the moments where I did, because I looked at her and I was like, wait a minute, holy shit, you're like a good politician, right?
And then so I turn around and because you're shocked.
And also, she looked at me like, yeah, it's me. I know. Like that kind of thing. So I knew it was, because she does look a little different on TV. She didn't have like her hair and makeup done. She was just walking by, regular clothing, just trying to get through a very busy airport because of the whole stupid fucking shutdown. Yeah. So you go, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she's like, yeah. And I high-fived her. We had like a quick conversation with her. We thanked her for, just keeping it real, keeping it BX, wearing the red lipstick and the hoops, at the swearing in. All right.
So I saw her, and I'm a huge fan. I absolutely admire her. One thing, she's like, we're close in age, right? The level of bravery to be that type of person in that arena. Right. I'm like, so it's easy to admire a person like that. Yeah. And I saw her.
Even if you don't agree, just the fact that her come up is
incredible. And, but I saw her and I was like, where I can physically remember, I have that muscle memory of that feeling where I was genuinely starstruck.
You know the cartoon where I think it's like I don't know what animal it is. They have their legs and arms close to their body, and their hands and their feet flap, and they float up a little bit. That's big. I had to pull Christian down from the stratosphere.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I couldn't even, I said her name, and then I couldn't, you were talking to her.
The funny thing is, you just yelled out her name in the middle of a conversation. I was like, yo, thank you so much. And here's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I was, you were talking to her, you were saying, you were complimenting her about a bunch of stuff, and I couldn't speak.
Yeah.
I've never felt that way in my life.
You know what sound you were making? You were just going, That is 100% true. I can hear that in my background. I'm like, all right, well, Christian's buffering, so I'll keep the conversation going.
Dude, I might as well have been like a little boy.
Yeah.
With like meeting his crush. You know what I mean? But I couldn't speak. Yeah. Literally, I was just like, get out. This is crazy.
Yeah, you were just, in your head, you were like, say something.
They gotta say a word.
Say a word.
But no, man. So that happened. We got to take a photo.
But, I did say, yo, you know the term Gully? And she's like, of course. And in my head, I'm like, of course you know it. You're from Bronx. I was like, yo, you're the gulliest congresswoman ever. And then I was like, let's give her a shirt.
Yeah.
And by the way, we had just like 4 or 5 of these like red bags with us, with just loaded with a bunch of different sizes of these Gulliest shirts. We had merch over at the conference. So I'm just like, I'm like, oh, it's going to take forever. She's going to have to go. And out of nowhere, I realized, wait a minute, there's a small that's just folded by itself right on top. Yeah. And I pulled that out. I handed it to her. I'm like, yo, you take a quick picture. She took a picture with us, took a picture with the shirt. It was wild.
It was crazy. The fact that, and we also, you asked her, you were like, yo, you like soccer? She was like, yeah, I like soccer.
Yeah. She's like, I can't follow it too much, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah. It's one of those things. As soon as she said, I like soccer, I was just like, you know, that thing in your
Christian
head.
floated away again.
I died. I needed to be resuscitated after she said that.
I pulled his soul back into his body.
But no, once she said that, that thing goes off in your mind of like, oh, she's a politician. She has to like, you can't trust a politician.
Yeah.
But I was just like, yeah, she does. She's
Yeah.
the biggest soccer fan I've ever met.
Yeah, that's it. Want to be on our podcast as a host?
Oh my goodness, that was a great experience. But she took the photo.
Yeah.
We posted it.
Yeah. You posted something. I posted something. We posted from the Cooligans thing right
Yeah.
away. Mine, she responded to.
Yes.
And I think it's because I said I gave her a shirt. And she started getting a little comments from, hey, you're not supposed to accept gifts of over $50, which anyone looking at the shirt thinking it's more than $50. Thank you. Okay. Thank you
Very
so
nice.
much.
Okay. It's not a Kanye brand
Thank you,
white
cigar.
t-shirt.
Yeah. It's Cooligan season 3. So she wrote back like people said you can't accept gifts in like the hall of whatever. Like they thought it was like a government building.
Sure.
So that's why I think she wrote anything can happen at LaGuardia when you're stuck at LaGuardia, being like, hey, watch out now, you boy, your girl's at an airport now, accepting gifts and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, Sean King retweets it. A bunch of other people tweet it. I think it's up to 10,000 something likes.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And I realized, oh, wait, it's going viral. I don't have a SoundCloud. Let me post the Cooligans podcast. So I posted underneath. So if you're listening to this because of that tweet, hey, welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, this is it's a fun little soccer show.
Yeah,
we could make a bunch of dumb jokes.
Bro, we talk about some serious stuff with some soccer players. You're about to hear in the next few weeks.
This is a lot of people were tweeting at us because they were just like, oh, when my worlds collide.
Yeah,
and that's a good feeling. I was just like,
some of those people don't even follow us, by the way. I'm like, what worlds, man?
What world exactly?
Hit the button, my guy.
But that is a flattering and very sweet thing. It's just like, almost like this concept of politics is always in our face, right? Soccer, you have to like explore. You got to look for it.
Yeah, soccer's not something that's easily brought to you.
Exactly. So when you get into soccer Twitter, you're stuck there for life.
Yeah,
right?
hell yeah, you're an official member.
But this, at least for me, it is a nice feeling. Like, look, because as comedians, comedy is not just about one particular thing. So we can this show, yes, its focus is soccer, but other things can cross paths, and that's how we have fun. That's how we make jokes. But this like direct connection to almost a darling liberal, superstar.
Yeah,
It's like a dream come true. Like, I'm incredibly passionate about soccer and the Cooligans and all the stuff that we do. And then,
but we also care about the world.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, we worry sometimes.
And to see, and again, like we posted the stuff and in like the negativity, the MAGA bots that we were talking about.
Oh,
like,
boy.
I
will tell you of a miracle that happened after it.
Okay.
This is true. This is a miracle. It's never happened before in my life. Patrick Inferna texted me first. He reached out and put, whoa, that's crazy. And I responded, that's what it took for you to text me first? And he wrote like, I felt guilty before, and now I feel even guiltier. You should, bruh.
Yes, Patrick Inferna from Copa 90. Great dude. So, yeah, but the fact that we can, that these like two parts of our lives are like, intertwining in a way that is like the fact that
it's like kismet.
It's just the fact that she held up the shirt and was just like, yo, yeah.
She co-signed us.
That's it.
That's what just happened.
That is all right.
Yo, how many other soccer podcasts are co-signed by congressmen and congresswomen?
Yeah. Okay.
You find one.
All right.
Link us that too. You got a lot of homework to do.
No, man, but that was truly, truly special. Yes, outside of the fact that I was just, I think my heart stopped for a couple seconds. Outside of that, it was just an incredible thing.
And 5 minutes later, your girl was a little jelly.
Oh, yeah. She wasn't too happy that I was very happy to meet our congresswoman.
She kept bringing that up.
But that's a part of it, all right? Okay, so it's like, she has to understand, okay?
Yeah.
Because my girlfriend, she loves, this is who she loves. She has a huge crush on. She has a huge crush on Topher Grace. You know Topher Grace?
Of course I know, and why? I have a scowl on my face.
So she meets Topher Grace. All right, like go
at the Starbucks he works at.
Don't say that about Topher Grace. He played Spider-Man. Remember? Oh no, he played Venom.
Yeah,
he played Venom in one of the Spider-Man movies.
It was Topher Grace? And what's he done in the last 10 years?
That 70s
show.
Yeah, but he does a good show.
Also, here's what I don't like about Topher. That's a nickname for the name Christopher.
That's right.
Homie. Everyone goes with Chris. Who are you to grab the other side? That makes no sense. Someone calls himself John, you're going to go with, no, I'm Ethan? You can't do that. You're not allowed to go Topher.
I know.
Topher is the name of an animal I haven't discovered yet, but I know it's the name of an animal.
Bro, I feel like Ethan is like a bunch of kids in Park Slope, Brooklyn are going to start being named that.
Yeah, of course. It's 2 A's and an emoji of an apple.
I did love that the fact that when you saw her and stopped her and she stopped, like, this is how great of she's clearly a politician and she doesn't have to do this, but she stopped like she hadn't, we were friends that she hadn't seen in 10 years.
She was willing to have a conversation.
Totally.
That's different.
Yeah.
That's different from most people.
Yeah, she took out her headphones. Did she have AirPods?
No, she had with the strings, yo.
Oh, okay. So she keeps it
real.
All right. She's not being some elitist walking around AirPods.
She keeps it 100. People were making fun of me for misspelling 100. It's like, that shit's on purpose. It's in all caps, you idiot. H-U-N and not D, my guy.
So I thought that moment in itself was just like, she was just like, yo, Alexis, what's good?
Oh, shit. It's the Cooligan. Damn.
Oh,
how was the conference?
Where you been at?
I know. Let me see the merch.
It was just a great time, man, and for it wouldn't have happened. We were on a standby flight. We had a later flight.
You want to hear something funny? It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the shutdown.
Thank you, Trump. You did
Finally, Trump does something positive for us.
Okay.
It would not have happened if it wasn't for the goddamn Trump
shutdown. And getting McDonald's for a bunch of football players is the greatest things he's ever done.
Imagine we went to visit the Queen of England and she handed us Nando's. I slapped that shit out of her hand. Fuck out of here.
Oh my goodness. We were on a later flight that got delayed. It was an hour later and then got delayed 2 hours. And then I get to the airport and they tell you are on this delayed flight. Then they tell me that I'm on an earlier flight that already took off.
That already took off.
I don't know what Delta's doing.
Yeah. Delta algorithm is so fucked up, we got to meet a politician. And then they throw us on standby.
They throw us on standby on the next flight, which is leaving in an hour, which is sooner than the flight that we were originally going to take.
That would have if it would have taken off on time.
Yeah.
But we meet a friend who works with my sister who's like, hey, get on this other flight. It's about to take off. It's just going to JFK. And we were in this moment of like, are we going to be the standby or not? And the guy's like, hey, I got to wait. We call this guy's name. If he doesn't come up, we only have 2 seats left. And it's us too. So we're waiting. Do we switch? Do we not? We decide not to and wait it out. We rolled the dice. Next thing you know, we're just best friends with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
What? This serendipitous.
Dude, we played double dutch with her and everything. We didn't get to take photos of all that.
You know, we don't like IG story everything.
Yeah,
so
I know,
we don't
not everything. Some things are just for us. Gully Squad got to see the photo. Got to see the video of me going, and my mother told me not to.
So it was incredible. And maybe the next quest is maybe 2 things. Get Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on this show.
That would be huge.
Talk soccer. And then maybe get her to an NYCFC game.
Uh-oh.
Maybe.
Or maybe get her cracking on a stadium.
All right.
Okay.
You really all right, you want to help your constituents?
Yeah. Slide that into one of those agriculture bills. Just slide it right in, you know?
All right, this is how politics works. We know how DC works.
Yeah,
right?
come on now. We prepared for it.
All right. So, all right, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll get to our next segment because we were excited to have
finally.
Finally. It's been long overdue.
Talking about it forever.
So we'll be joined by Melissa Ortiz. She played on the Colombian national team. She played in NWSL.
But you are all decked out in your nation's colors.
That's right. Okay.
You're wearing a Colombian Bibe hat from Talisman Caps. You're wearing a Colombian soccer jersey. And we know you've been Colombian your entire life since this World Cup.
Exactly.
So,
parcera for life.
Yeah.
All right. Get used to it.
I did not wear my Colombia jersey because I was like, I feel like it'd be too much. And Christian's like, yo, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'll be enough for all of us.
All right, don't worry. The cumbia's coming on in a second. So we'll be right back with Melissa Ortiz right after this.
Hey, everybody, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We just want to break in with a word from one of our sponsors, us and you.
And you sponsored this show. Gully Squad. Thank you so much to all the people who support this show and want to be involved with it in a much more intimate way.
Ooh. Uh-oh. And also, we talked about the convention in that first segment. That trip was made possible because of Gully Squad.
Exactly.
And if you want to see and hear more content like that, what you could do is join Gully Squad. There's a couple different levels. We know not everyone has a ton of money, but if you want to support the Cooligans, we're trying to do as many cool things as possible, and a lot of it is owed to you guys.
Exactly.
So go to our website, soccercooligans.com/Gully Squad. You could join Gully Squad. It would mean the world to us, and you'll find out about that super secret message group that maybe or maybe does not exist.
Exactly. Who knows? But in that secret message group that may or may not exist, you might be able to ask questions that we answer on the show. So
and you might have heard us answer some of those questions, so maybe it does exist, but also maybe it don't.
Maybe it don't.
You won't know until you join Gully Squad.
So like you might have heard, and if you haven't heard yet, our crossover episode with Total Soccer Show, we answered a lot of those questions. So if you want to be one of those people that has the opportunity to ask, that's where you do it. So join Gully Squad, soccercooligans.com/Gully Squad to join today.
Yeah, baby, we're back.
Yes, this is, like we've mentioned, long overdue. We're so happy to have our next guest on the show.
Absolutely, guys. You most likely follow her on Instagram, okay? She's not just a soccer blogger. She's played for the Colombian national team. Oh my God, we're so happy to have her in studio. Unless you're driving, put your hands together for the one, the only, Melissa Ortiz.
Buenas.
Come on.
Hey.
There she is.
Thank you.
Felt like you had to drop bars. Yeah.
I know.
No, welcome to the show. Yeah, we've like I think several people heard about you through Instagram because I remember seeing you on just doing tricks. That was the main thing. I'm like, she's good at soccer, and I look her up, and I'm like, oh, she played for the Colombian national team.
Okay.
You were in Miami or in Florida? Where in
I
Florida?
was living in West Palm Beach.
You were
West Palm Beach.
Actually born and raised in West Palm Beach.
Okay. So
And I know you're not Cuban because you would have pronounced it West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach.
Palm Beach. There is like a Cuban community in West Palm Beach that says West Palm Beach.
Oh yeah, you heard? He moved to West Palm Beach.
I feel like every time when I hear my dad try to speak English, I just get embarrassed. Like that's why here in West Palm Beach, that's how
You just like you shrink into your own.
Please
skin.
stop it, Dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, vamos para West Palm Beach. It's perfect. I'm like
Está
that's
cerca,
Yeah.
Miami.
That's how it should be pronounced. I don't know where everyone's got the S and the T.
It sounds like Wepa Beach.
Yeah. Which is a much more lit beach than it really is.
The best is on my national team when they used to fly me from Fort Lauderdale to Bogota. My coach would be like, "Where's your?" Not even. What am I saying in English? They'd be like, ¿a dónde? ¿A qué aeropuerto? And they'd be like, "Fort Lauderdale."
Yeah.
I'm like, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, dude.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Esto americano habla
It sounds like somebody yodeling.
Yeah, it's a Ricola commercial. Fort Lauderdale.
Dude, it should be on the next Spirit commercial.
100%.
So, Melissa,
The reason we brought you here is not just talk about how Latinos pronounce things. We've covered that.
welcome to the show. You are here with your mate, which is
Cheers.
great. Cheers to that. We have a video coming soon with Maxi. That's going to be Maxi Urrutia is coming out soon.
He showed us how to have first time you ever had mate.
That's right.
Yeah, it was exciting times.
It was lovely.
is.
But you are here because we are huge fans of just what you do, because I know you did play soccer professionally, and you are now going into sort of the route. A lot of people, former players, tend to do this, right? Because, and some are better at it than others, I may say.
Yeah.
You're one of the ones that are better at it,
Oh
right?
my God, thank you.
But you
Jesus, made me sweat right there.
Yeah, you never know. And how does it feel to suck? Talk to us.
Yeah, there are some people. Look, we've met people in soccer and who played, and some people are like obsessively focused on the game exclusively and never learned to like develop a personality while they were also doing that.
Right.
And you are very personable and fun and really cool to watch, and you do things to not only just entertain, but to kind of like inform. And coming from your perspective, Colombiana, you did live in New York for a little bit, right?
No, my parents actually, when they immigrated from Colombia, lived here.
Oh, okay.
They met here.
Okay, cool.
Fell in love and then moved to Florida.
Got it.
So I have New York roots, like Colombia, New York.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad you said that your parents fell in love. You're like, your parents love each other. That's pretty
I know,
cool.
right?
La-di-da.
They're still together.
All right, that's it. Mom, Dad, you're going to Wet Palm Beach. I don't know what's in the water out there.
So what has kind of inspired you to go in that route and be in like the more creative route?
Right. Gosh, I think it came to a point where I'm like, all right, my knees are hurting.
Okay.
So I knew soccer one day wasn't going to go past a certain age. Also, the paycheck sucks. So
Sure.
it came to a point where I was like, I need to find something that I want to do and I love and it makes me happy. After I stopped playing soccer, more because of economic reasons and because of lack of respect and all that. That's another story.
Sure.
Yeah. Some of that comes with it.
Yeah. I started
unfortunately.
working for my family business in West Palm. And as much as I, love my family, have a great business, it just wasn't me because it wasn't in soccer.
Right.
So I wanted to get more involved.
What they do, if you don't mind me asking.
They repair. They used to sell as well, but it's more repair BMWs, Mercedes,
Okay.
like all European cars. It's a really, really cool repair center, high end, boutique like in West Palm Beach.
Wet Palm Beach.
Yeah.
We will never need that. We're two comedians who have a soccer podcast. Does you know how to fix a rented Kia that I don't want to pay a fine for?
Yeah, but they've been in business for 35 years.
That's
so
awesome.
it's awesome and run by my parents since then. So it's great. My eldest brother's in it too. So they were like, Melissa, do the marketing. That was my major in college.
Yeah.
But it wasn't me, so I figured out if I really want to do something, I got to do it myself. I probably sent a resume a week to tons of companies, and it's either a rejection letter or no letter. And I'm thinking, what the am I doing
Oh, you
wrong?
could curse here, yeah.
Okay.
Podcast.
I'm like, I have an MBA, like Olympic athlete, like I'm pretty good at what I do. And I was applying for like soccer marketing jobs or whatever. And it just wasn't happening. I don't know if it was because I was from a smaller school or, the networking thing.
Right,
I
yeah.
just moved back to the USA too. So I was like, well, I listened to some podcast, Gary Vee, obviously. And I was like, I'm going to do it myself. So just one day went like this, like snapped in my head, start the soccer blogger. I was like, you know what? I have this saying in my head, if like I'm nervous about taking a step outside of my box. And it's always been like this throughout my soccer career. It's just like, fuck everyone.
Yeah.
Do you know? That's always just kind of
If
my
you're afraid
mentality.
of it's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
the best idea, yeah.
Yeah, so that's always my mentality of some things. Like it's out of the comfort zone. You know?
Yeah.
So I started it and started making these videos, and it's been going pretty cool. It's gotten me opportunities to work with large companies, such as like Alcatel, BMW, Casper Mattress. I don't know, like a bunch of random things.
Yeah, one day you step in an elevator with us. I think this was at MLS
All-Star?
Cup.
in Atlanta.
In Atlanta,
Yeah.
that was that was All Star.
And you're just like head to you look like a NASCAR. You're head to toe in Alcatel. And I was like, I guess you're working. Either that or I feel like you heavily matched.
Or I just really love Alcatel.
Yeah. I believe the first time we ever met was in Atlanta.
It was, yeah.
Previous. You came up to us and said hello, and I looked at you like, who are you? And then you
Yeah.
said your name, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, in all your videos, you're like in workout gear, doing tricks
yeah.
and balls, and you're like in a full-on dress. I was like, I don't know who you are. Get away from me, lady. And then you said your name. I was like, really? Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm just used to you looking like a supreme athlete.
Yeah, true,
It was so funny. I was like, oh my God, that's right. You have a life. You're not just on Instagram.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't just live inside that little square.
So let's talk about your career a little bit and your rise. Just because there's a couple interesting things that I found fascinating about your career. But you did mention an Olympian. How does a girl living in Florida end up playing for the Colombian national team?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of dual nationals that play.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So my parents are both from Colombia. They immigrated here 40 years ago. And when I was in college, I was scouted by this coach who knew the former Colombian coach.
Wow.
Okay.
And so he knew I was a dual citizen. I've been Colombian American since I was little. And so he asked me, do you want to go try out for the Colombian national team? And I was like, hell yeah. But to be honest with you, like being a soccer player was never my goal in life. Like seriously, especially
Really?
like as a Latina female, there wasn't like that figure to look up to. You had your Mia Hamm growing up in the States.
Yeah, yeah.
Brandy Chastain. But for me, like I had my heart set on being an architect. And I got accepted here to Pratt Institute of Design. And I was going to come my senior, like I already knew my senior year, I was going to come to New York. And then it just so happened that I got this scholarship, really great scholarship to play soccer, because I had quit travel to become an architect pretty much.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I was pretty focused on my studies and everything.
I'm so sorry soccer stopped you from your dreams.
I'm so sorry. Soccer stopped me from being in the studio for 25 hours.
You would have hated it.
No crap. I know.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, I'm also like, I didn't realize Melissa was such a damn nerd.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to bully her for some
Well,
reason.
she said, I have an MBA. I'm like, I got MBA. I got MBA hats too. I got a couple Knicks hats. I don't understand what's so impressive about it. So impressive.
No, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, my freshman year of college, I realized that I was really talented and I fell back in love with the game. And I was like, wow, if this tryout just comes and I ball it, like, I don't know what can happen, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't even know Colombia had a freaking national team when I was in high school.
Yeah, that's
there wasn't
insane.
like Instagram back then to show us all these like crazy ass highlights
Yeah, of
from all
course.
over the world. So I did it. I missed my half of my second semester of college, went down, made the pool, whatever. The next year I played in the U20 Women's World
so
Cup.
dope.
And then from there on stayed with the national team. So it's been quite a ride.
What was that experience like with getting there? Were they like with Eta Americana and all this kind of stuff?
Absolutely. La gringa, ¿quién es esta gringa? You know, it's always going to be like that. Even girls now who even write me sometimes like, hey, how can I get to the Colombian national team? Like, I'll be like, do you speak Spanish? Like,
This feels important.
How good is your South?
Yeah.
There's tests for both.
Yeah.
So like
As soon as you walk in, they're gonna throw on cumbia. You gotta.
you walk into the locker room, you're like,
Okay, all right.
But she didn't make her coffee while she danced, so you're off the team. Okay. Back to West Palm Beach.
so yeah, it was challenging at first. I'm not gonna lie. Like they all were like, "Who is this girl?" And of course, you know, I speak Spanish, but I don't speak like I was born and raised there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Obviously, like anyone that was born and raised outside of their country.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it was a challenge.
that's not even like, I think it's hard for people who don't speak Spanish to understand. Even if you speak Spanish every day of your life, if you're not there, you sound a little different to them.
yeah.
It's like a British guy who moves to the US and 6 months later his friends in England are like, your accent, you're American. To us, we're like, no, he's not.
Absolutely.
He sounds wild British. But to his friends, it's like you lose a little something.
Yeah.
So it always sticks. You always stick out.
Whenever I go to Dominican Republic, my Spanish, because I learned Spanish in school in New York, and so it's very proper. So whenever I go to Dominican Republic, I'm like not using any of the slang words that anybody's using. I'm like, I gotta stop. I gotta tap my cousin. I'm like, what's that mean? What's that mean? I'm like, I speak the language, but this is not the language.
And then you're like, what did I just agree to?
Happens all the time. I can imagine there is that pressure, and then on a professional level, like, are your teammates like almost? Do they like are they frustrated that there's like an American that could possibly take their spot? Like it's worse for them.
So I would say 10 years ago, yes, because we were all super young. Like I got there when I was 19. All the girls were like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. All young, didn't really know many girls from outside of Colombia. You know, I think what helped me, and I didn't really have like a huge challenge. Like at first, you have to break some barriers. Yeah. But what helped me was I think my personality. Seriously, like I was like raised in such a Colombian culture where like if they had a song in the locker room, I'd be like, oh yeah, and I would like start dancing and singing, and like I wasn't scared to dance because I love dancing. So like I just kind of made my way in and made friends really quickly. But I have seen girls like come from the US to Colombia and they've struggled, and some have left, seriously, and left crying, like because they couldn't get like fit in, you know, and they don't make it easy for you. That's fair.
Fans, I think it's so hard for fans to assume that the locker room is a hurdle, and it is. It's a big part of it. It's almost like the politics of being inside a team. It's you have to be the one that people like to some degree. And if you're not, you better be amazing.
You better be fucking messy.
If you an asshole, you better like make it where we're like, all right, we're gonna allow you to be this way.
Seriously.
Where was when you first got there and you did go went to try out? What city in Colombia?
Bogota.
In Bogota. Okay.
Which, by the way, is. Oh my God, you need like 10 extra longs. It was
Oh, yeah,
the
that's right, 'cause
hills?
it's high up. Yeah, it's a high
yeah,
mountain.
it's 2,600 meters above sea level. That's like double, triple Denver or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, dog, I'd die on one of those stairs.
I was in West Palm Beach.
Yeah. The flattest place on earth. Yo, like I was in San Francisco and one of the sidewalks is stairs. That's how steep it is. It's carved into stairs. And I was like, why did all of you stay here? Why didn't we leave as a society?
Yeah.
Well, I saw somebody riding a bike. I'm like, how do you ride that thing back home?
Yeah, seriously.
I'd just go downhill. There'd be a pile of bikes at the bottom of the hill. Those are all yours now.
I feel like you just say that about anybody riding a bike or doing any exercise. Like, how do you do that? All that.
So you're gonna run in that machine and not go anywhere? Seems weird to me, bro. Might want to straighten your life out.
So
Let's talk a little bit about like sort of what your career is now. You're sort of like, I hate to use the term influencer, but that's kind of exactly what you are, right?
Yeah.
You're a personality, and which is huge because I think Christian brought it up before. We meet some people sometimes that are big on Instagram, and they don't always have the personality followed up. You're someone who can host and do stuff like that. Why does it seem like it's so important, especially for women in the sport of soccer, to also have like a pop-in Instagram account, or else you can't make it a viable career?
Yeah, it's crazy how life has changed so much, especially in the media world. I mean, a few years ago, before Instagram was the thing on your cell phone, I was like, how can I get into the media world? And I started doing internships in Colombia with like different big networks. But I didn't realize that I had the most important tool right here in my hand.
In your pocket, yeah. Just
Yeah,
sitting there,
seriously. And yeah, it's important for females because you can literally show the world or your however many followers that this is who you are. You could be yourself, and you're kind of also, you're selling your own self. You're selling your brand, you yourself are your own brand. So as much as companies like you, and you could show that you're knowledgeable about whatever you're doing, whatever it's a food blogger, fashion blogger, soccer blogger, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as you're knowledgeable about it, you're good at it, you love it, and you show that you're passionate about it, you'll attract such a good fan base.
Yeah, and it seems like it gives
I want to start a food blog. It's gonna be very empty.
Sad.
It's gonna be very sad. It's just gonna be like, just don't eat that if you want to be as thin as me.
Here's another photo of something I didn't eat. Welcome to Christian Polanco's. It's all photos he takes from my Instagram account of stuff I did eat.
You guys should start a food blog though.
No, my God.
No, like
half of it would be amazing.
Real
And the other half
news.
would be
Real news.
Christian's.
I legit messaged them 2 weeks ago. My parents were in town. I was like, yo, give me top 10 pizza places in Hell's Kitchen.
I got you.
Now, shoot. And you did.
Yeah.
And we went to Don Antonio's and it was the bomb. Seriously.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
freaking good.
Shouts to Don Antonio.
Alexis, he
Did you get the
knows.
fried one? The Montanara?
No.
Okay, that's always the big hurdle for people just to get
Okay.
that. It's incredible though.
Yeah.
You can never impress Alexis. You go to the place that he says, and you're like, oh, you didn't get the thing I said you should get. Okay, well,
I know.
Okay.
I think I gave you 4 things to get there.
You
I think I said
did.
4 things,
Yeah,
and I go,
you
look,
did.
you're not gonna want to order because it's fried, and you care about how you look, right? And,
That's where you and I
know,
differ.
right.
We had a wedding that week and I was
Right.
like, yo, how many expensive
Who
fries?
gives a shit? But we got tailors for a reason.
He's like, down 4 pizzas. We have to go down the
I know.
aisle
I
to
was like, how many is
bridesmaids.
it of you? 4 of you? All right, there's 7 pizzas you need to order. But whatever. But the fried one is a big hurdle for people, but it
Yeah.
does taste great.
So you're going back to your career. You did play in the Olympics, but you played in the U20 World Cup.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Did you get a chance to? You didn't get a chance to play in the Senior World Cup, but you did.
I was about to.
You was about to,
Yeah.
and so then this is what happened. You got injured
Yeah.
in training.
Yeah.
Before. So I'm curious. We've spoken to a couple of people that, look, it's part of the game and it's incredibly unfortunate. But how did you feel? And I know obviously heartbreak without a doubt, but how do you feel? How do you feel then, and how do you feel now about that experience? What did it teach you?
Oh my God. At the moment, I wanted to jump off a cliff. Seriously, It was the worst thing I could ever imagine. I don't wish that upon anyone.
Yeah.
Was it an injury that just happened, or did someone slide tackle you?
No, I mean, it's probably a better thing that I did it myself, because if someone would have knocked me out of the World Cup, I would have I would have murdered them.
Yeah.
I would have murdered you.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Yeah. I'm like, knife.
Yeah, I know. You carry that also?
It's New York.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah. So 4 days before the World Cup, we were on our way up, already made the final roster. We're going to Canada. We stopped in Colorado to play against Costa Rica, and we played against a few club teams. And it was against one of those damn club teams that we're going over tactics, just on and off playing.
Yeah.
And it was within the first 20 minutes that I took a step back. And if you YouTube how David Beckham tore his Achilles. It's legit how I did it.
Okay.
Yeah, he probably just has more views on YouTube.
Yeah. Still
A couple more.
Yeah.
Your abs are better, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, so that sucked. I mean, God, I was speechless from there. Like, I had to get surgery right away, flew me to Florida the day that my teammates flew up to Canada. And it was depressing. Like, literally, I hit rock bottom. Never knew I could feel anything like that before in my life.
It's just crazy.
So thankfully, like, my family, they flew to Colorado, brought me back to Florida, went through the whole rehab thing. And I mean, if it wasn't for my family, I don't know what I've done. Seriously.
Yeah, because
supportive.
You could probably very easily fall into why me.
Absolutely.
In that moment. And
and you do. You like all these things going through your mind.
It guaranteed it goes through.
Yeah.
In the moment you step back, you knew you were done?
No. And I wasn't done yet. No,
you were done for the World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
You knew as soon as that Achilles?
Yeah. So what happened was I was playing outside left back. I received the ball. I took a step, like I controlled it, took a step. And when I went to go pass it, in that step back, my Achilles just popped, right? But I thought it was a forward coming on, and like I thought she slid tackled me.
Yeah.
So there I was, like I felt that, and then I looked at the ref. I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like that, and he looked at me like I have like 8 heads.
You're like, "Give her a red card."
Yeah.
He gives a red card to your Achilles. Like, I don't know. What am I doing?
Like, on the floor. And so I realized it was just like me, and then my foot went numb. My like leg felt like this weird ass tingle, and I went to the floor, and I'm confused. I don't know if I just broke my leg. I don't know what the hell I just did. And as soon as I felt the back of my foot, like there's this huge hole. Sorry if I'm making you throw up, whoever's listening. I knew it right then and there. And like the trainer rushed onto the field, the doctor rushed on the field, and trainer was like, "Oh, you'll be good." And I'm like, "No, he won't be." Like I just
is my mother your trainer?
Like sana culturada. I'm like, that's just not working today.
Camina un poco, coño.
Exactly. So yeah, that happened. And my recovery was like 8 months to a year. But and during the time, it did teach me a lot about life. Like, as much as it sucked, it was the only tournament left on my bucket list to ever accomplish, like as a professional soccer player. I started my own business that year. I met my boyfriend, who I've been with for 3 years. I actually met him the week I was back in Florida in crutches.
Wow.
Well, I should say I met him when I was in my scooter. How sexy is that? Yeah.
He's like, "Yo, who's rolling past me? Who's this beautiful lady rolling? You see me rolling."
Wait, that's the song he literally tells me. Like when we met, he's like, "You see me rolling." So that happened. Met him. He moved from Puerto Rico that same week for a job to West Palm Beach.
Nice.
And I was down to West Palm Beach for my recovery.
So it's kismet. You know, it sucks you couldn't go to the World Cup, but it all worked out.
Yeah.
Okay. But you did get to play in the Olympics.
I did.
And what was that experience like?
So 2012 Olympics, first experience for us, as we're the first women's national team in history of Colombia to go to the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
So it was really cool for us. We didn't reach out of our group, unfortunately, but I was like 22. All the girls were like 20, 21, 22. We were super young. Such a great experience, though. We got to hang out in the village, like afterwards, like party it up, the whole
awesome.
Olympic experience, like compete, like train your ass off, go compete, cry because you lost, but then like go party and meet a bunch of athletes, like super cool.
Is it as lit in the village as they say it is? Is it wild?
That's what I didn't get to experience that at that litness.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't. Like, we partied with some divers and some, because there's athletes still in competition when we were there.
And by divers, are you throwing shade at another soccer team? Or is this...
The Brazilians?
Yeah. We played with some divers, the Brazilian women's national team. Okay.
Yeah. Good one.
You don't have to say that. Thank you. Don't ever come to a comedy show. That was funny.
I'm like the worst. I'm like, so we partied it up a few times. It was awesome.
How was the Colombian women's national team received in Colombia? As far as obviously the men's national team, I'm sure gets a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
But what was that experience for you? As far as I'm sure they showed a lot of love. I'm sure it was very inspirational to a lot of people, especially young girls. What was it like when you were in Colombia? Getting to experience that.
So one of the best experiences I tell everybody was when we got back from the U20 Women's World Cup. We made it to the semis. We lost in the semifinal to Nigeria from one goal. It was rainy and it was a shitty goal.
Yeah.
But we made it to semis, and like we were such the underdog. Like, no joke, we were such the underdog. And like back then, this is 2010. This is almost 10 years ago, and like women's soccer in Colombia was like, what's that? you know. So when we got back to the airport, there was actual like a band. There was like bands there, like playing Huacharaca.
Wow.
This whole like recibimiento that we had going on. It was the coolest experience. We were like, wow, like we actually have somewhat of attention now.
Sometimes it's just knowing people care.
Yeah.
You know? It's that little thing, because you guys work so hard. And I think this is something that comes up a lot with when we talk to women's soccer. It's almost like they always feel like we're working so hard at something, and sometimes people view it as like, oh, it's like adjacent to the sport. And now that it's getting so much more coverage and so much more respect, it's a beautiful thing. So for you to get off the airplane and be like,
that was so cool.
All right, this band cares.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, when we got off the airplane, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was waiting for us. It was
She was holding up a sign. She was cool. She's Ubering, apparently. It's very nice of her.
Would have been cool. She had a band with her.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Well, she was listening to something.
There you go. She had it on loudspeaker.
21 Savage, shows up.
So I'm curious about that. I was asking about how it was received, and I know there was a story that I heard about it because you were talking about this campaign that you were starting that we'll talk more about. But the cause of it was because there was a Colombian, so he was a president of a Colombian team, Tolima, you said, right? Who made very ridiculous comments. And we, in general, we understand that, women's soccer can be disrespected. We can see it and on Twitter and whatever. And people are like, yo, you're a dinosaur. What's your problem? But this almost took it a little farther. This was like, not only was it dismissive, but it was like, oh, let me also insult women's sports in general.
Or the gay community.
And it almost sounds like a joke from like the 80s or something. Like it's like, oh,
sure.
Like,
I would say farther than that. I feel like
but
people
that's
were
what
a
I mean.
little bit
Like
more
it just,
socially conscious.
It just seems like, where did that thought pop in your head?
Yeah.
So I'm going to paraphrase because who gives a shit about this guy? But the comment was basically he was asked about women's soccer in Colombia, and he did say that nobody cares about women's soccer. That it's just, I think he said it makes women lesbians or something along those lines, or something like it's just a bunch of lesbian women.
He said it was a cult of lesbianismo, a lesbian cult, and a bunch of drunks.
Which sounds really
bunch of drunks.
As I have like vodka in my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, so
I'm gonna smell that Theramis.
Yeah.
So when he said that, I saw several of your Instagram videos, and you were clearly angry at this, as anyone should be. But what did you think about that, and why did that inspire you to do what you then did?
Right. So women's soccer has finally kind of has a name for itself in Colombia. I started the professional league 2 years ago.
That's great.
Now, and I went down the first season because I just wanted to do that. Something we accomplished.
Of course.
But now they are saying like the season's supposed to start now. And now it's not starting for another 6 months because they're saying that, it's not generating revenue. They don't have the sponsors, but it's like they've had 6 months since last season to figure that whole thing out. It's one thing if it doesn't generate revenue. Okay, well then, create a system, at least plan. You've had 6 months to plan, or tell the press we're going to not do the professional league.
Yeah.
So you have like a bunch of women on standstill on what to do.
Yeah.
So with this guy, that's the reason why they asked him, what do you think about women's soccer? Because he's the president of Tolima, which is the club. So that's why they asked him, what do you think about women's soccer? Well, and he like blatantly said that like it's a lesbian cult. They're a bunch of drunks. And he was referring to a recent video when Atlético Huila, which is a club from Colombia, won Copa Libertadores. So like for those who don't know, Copa Libertadores, obviously, Boca River, that just happened, all that stuff.
It's the Champions League of Latin
South America.
Yeah.
Well, they do it for women too, and it's based around like a 3-week tournament. And it's the top of each country.
Okay.
This is the first time in Colombian history that a Colombian team actually won the whole continental tournament.
Sure.
That's great.
Yeah, huge. Like the biggest news. Well, guess what? The federation doesn't give two shits that like the girls won. They don't even post on their social media like congratulations, Huila, for winning Copa Libertadores. But of course, like a week later, when River won against Boca in the men's Libertadores, because Quintero scored the goal, they posted about Quintero, a player, but not a Colombian team, you know?
Of course, yeah.
So things like that just really like
It's ridiculous.
get me heated.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
just
I mean,
out
look, a lot of
respect.
people make this argument that women's soccer doesn't create a ton of revenue, but it's cause and effect. Are you promoting it so that it does? There was a time when men's soccer didn't create revenue.
Yeah.
And that's still here. And that's still in Colombia. And that's still everywhere. So
But it's also
sometimes
it's a
you have to
social-
pump that up to help it. You have to put money in to get money back out.
Absolutely. And it's also a social thing. Like, how many opportunities are being created for women in Colombia, for girls to get out of their barrios, to get out of their pueblos, to make, you know, an impact, not even for their country, to play in a World Cup. You know, a bunch of my teammates come from the smallest towns in Colombia, and now they are making money. They're getting sponsored. You know,
Right.
just things like that are just opening so many doors for girls who need the help for their families, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this guy said that, and I right away started chatting with a teammate of mine who we see ourselves more as like a voice, you know, me not being in Colombia anymore, being here, me being more mature as well now, not being scared to talk about these issues.
Yeah.
Not me like not being scared to be kicked off the team anymore. You know, certain things like that we had to deal with for years.
You're free now.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
you
like,
say
you know,
whatever the hell
I
you
do the
want.
same thing. Like, fuck that, you know? You know, so
I do that even when I shouldn't. Yeah.
yeah.
There's been times where Christian's like, hey, don't say anything. In my head, I'm like, yo, I should say something. Yo, Christian's right. I should say something.
Yeah. So yeah, we started this campaign, and it was with the like three, and we demanded more respect,
Yeah.
an apology from him, and of course the league, like an answer about the league.
Sure.
So, and it went viral. It was trending in Colombia, trending in Bogota. We got attention from major politicians in Colombia. Even one of the guy who ran for president at the last elections, Pedro,
Yeah.
he even tweeted about it, that his daughter's a goalie, blah, blah, blah,
That's great.
information. Yeah, so it got a lot of attention, and this guy finally apologized, I think like a week ago. It took him like a month.
All right. I mean, he's
huge.
still garbage, but yeah.
Garbage,
Yeah, because how sincere is he really, right? But at least,
his whatever probably wrote it up, tweeted it, whatever.
Of course.
But
Yeah,
it's
when the
just-
polls show the other way,
Yeah,
that's the way
yeah.
they go.
but that's amazing
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's
But inspiring that change is all that matters.
Yes, it's inspiring the change. It's inspiring girls and like women in Colombia to speak up. You know,
Yeah.
here you see, you know, all these movements going on, and I see it because I live here.
Yeah.
In Colombia, it's just so challenging. There's so much domestic violence. There's
Yeah.
so much, you know, machismo. So
Well, that's sort of the dichotomy of like this, like the way people view or perceive Latina women, which is like they're so like headstrong and opinionated, and sometimes they're viewed as sassy and stuff. But it's also there's such a high level of machismo, and there's such a high level of
Yeah.
misogyny in Latin America as well that counteracts that. You know, so you get animals like this dude who's like, it's just a cult of.
Yeah.
You're like, Jesus.
Well, it's like I talk about in my stand-up act. I talk about it as well. Like growing up in Latino just cultures, it's built in, right? That machismo, and you have to
Right.
kind of like unlearn it. Where there's clearly, I've been with like. I remember being a kid, like with my mom while she was like getting harassed on the street, and then I remember
Yeah.
like walking down the street with my dad while he was harassing women on the street. It's just like
Yeah.
it's really bad, man.
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, who's right? Why? Oh, I know who's right.
You're like,
Yeah.
harass mom. Dad.
Small.
Makes all the sense.
focus.
in the
She's
world.
right there.
Yo, I was in Cuba like a few months ago, and with a taxista, he'd literally be with his windows rolled up, and we'd pass by a woman, he'd be like that. Every time he's like, oh yeah, mommy, like that. And I'm like,
you know what's funny?
holy
Like,
shit.
it's still in my head. It's like, well, it's not that bad. Like, that's still because you grow up with it,
Yeah.
and you realize, no, you shouldn't do that. And I guess because I'm married, I don't do it, so I don't view it as like, well, I'm if I did, I'd be a terrible person. Yeah, it's don't do it.
I don't do it because I'm too shy to do it. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's really.
Well, you know that is what it is. It's like the guy who goes and just walks up to a girl and talks to him. It's a sense of
Yeah.
like, well, look, I got the balls to do it.
Yeah, because to me, I see dudes like that, and I'm like, aren't you embarrassed a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit? Like,
Yeah.
that's insane
Yeah.
that you would
Yeah.
just go harass random people,
Yeah.
and like you don't care how you make them feel. That's like crazy to me.
The weirdest thing is when you see or hear someone honk at a girl walking by.
Yes. Oh
what
my
do you
God.
think is going to happen? You
Yeah.
just jump on the hood and rip her clothes
Yeah,
off?
like,
I'm so glad you
seriously.
pressed the button in your car.
Yeah.
I got 20 minutes before I got to get to work.
Like, what the? I hate when people honk. Seriously.
Yeah. I remember
it.
I was driving once and my buddy was in the car next to me and a attractive girl walked by and he hit the horn. Like he just hit the horn.
You reached over?
The death stare this girl gave me was just like that was enough. I'm like, if I got that once in my life to know, never do it again.
You're never going back. I'm never going back, baby.
But no, I commend you for it because I know even sometimes people may feel like, I'm just making an Instagram video or whatever. Like even that takes some kind of bravery because you still have to take a backlash for that. Like
you put yourself out there.
Oh yeah, you put yourself out there. You're bound to take risks. You're bound to get people to talk shit about you. You're bound, but you don't listen to those.
Do any of your like former teammates or friends like that? They're all very positive about what you're doing. A lot of them asking you your advice.
Yeah, some of them. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my best friends, she's started to become an influencer as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I say, go for it.
Who
more
we
power
met,
to
right?
you.
Did we meet her at Soccer Roof?
Mm-hmm,
Okay,
yeah.
I forgot her name. Isa.
Isa.
Yeah.
Isa.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, she lives in Houston now. She moved from Medellin to Houston.
That's right. We did meet her over by the couches. Now I remember.
Yeah,
What are you people talking about?
Yeah. She's
very
cool. She's awesome. And then a few others. And I think my teammates kind of always knew that I had like the personality to do something in this realm. I don't know. My goal down the future is to hopefully be like a soccer host or something. I don't know, something in soccer.
Sure, yeah. I mean, don't you dare take any of our jobs.
Yeah, no. You better not.
Guys,
all right.
subscribe to my podcast.
Her podcast is called The Cooligans. I swear it is.
You're good at soccer and you're good at personality. Like, no, you can't have everything.
You have too much. Christian, good on the Colombian national team. Hurry up.
All right.
Put a wig on.
Got some cupie uppies right now. I'm not training. I'm really letting the show down.
Yeah. Jesus. No competition out here.
We're absolutely proud of you and commend you. And
an honor to finally get you on the show. We've been friends for so long.
Yes,
we have a couple questions just to wrap up, but one of them that we have to ask is, because this has been a running theme on the show, and you do have mate right there.
Mm-hmm.
What is what do you call a straw in Spanish? Answer the question. What do you call it?
Now, hold on a second. Remember,
I got it.
Hold on. No, wait. Before you answer, just remember you live near a bunch of Cubans, okay? Your whole life. Help us out a little bit here.
So in Colombia, you call him pitillo.
Okay.
But like my boyfriend's from Puerto Rico, and he's like, what the fuck is a pitillo when he went to Colombia?
Yeah.
And he's like, he once asked, he's like, hola, me regalas un pipillo, like a pipillo. I'm like, did you really fucking just say pee with a yo at the end? I'm like, no.
Por favor.
Yeah.
Un pipillo. That's not what Puerto Ricans call it, though.
No, pitillo in Colombia.
Yeah.
I don't know. I forget what Puerto Rico
Colombians, Puerto Ricans call it sorbeto, I believe.
Yes.
But okay, well, the ones near me called it absorbente. All right, you know what? That's it. It's absorbente. All right, look, we're communists now. Let us have something. You know what I mean?
So, Melissa, we are grateful that you came on the show. Thank you so much for hopping on.
Where can people follow you? What can people look out for? You do a show on Instagram as well. Tell the fans about that.
Yeah, my Instagram is Melissa Ortiz 5, and that's where I do my weekend prev, which I do most weekends or weekdays prior to the weekend soccer games.
Okay.
Why did I just have trouble saying that?
It's okay.
Anyways,
Too much mate.
Yeah, I'm like energy.
Because your brain is punishing you for not saying absorbente. That's what it is.
Yeah, so Melissa Ortiz 5. I do the Soccer Blogger Weekend Prev. I have the website, thesoccerblogger.com, where I post those videos, and I just started writing like kind of bloggy articles around soccer. So I just did one really recently about the NWSL draft.
Cool.
So I'm just going to try to do more blogs more often, and then I'll post some training videos like at the soccer field, maybe some training tips, stuff like that. Everything around soccer lifestyle, something that makes
Well, if you're
us
ever looking
happy.
to play a pickup game, we have a soccer team.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
That's right.
We have a soccer team.
Semi-pro.
It's co-ed.
Yeah.
And it would be amazing. I mean, so it's a comedian soccer team. It's only comedians, but you have a great personality, and like you made me laugh a couple times. I'm like, you're on the team.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I feel
made it.
honored.
We're smiling, so you're on. I do not play.
Okay.
Because I'm smarter than that. I feel like walking, I would pull my ACL. Hit the ground.
He just said pull my ACL.
What do you do? You pop it?
You tear it.
You tear it?
You pull a muscle. You tear a ligament.
You think I know any of this? I got plantar fasciitis. I asked the doctor, how'd I get it? I can't walk. He's like, well, you're fat. True story. He's like, I hate to tell you this.
So if we ever
Look
need
down.
a crazy ringer on the team, there's an open invitation.
Also,
I'm down.
I would love to film that as you just get in position. Stop checking Instagram. What are you doing?
Stop refreshing your Instagram.
Yeah.
But Melissa, you just do great work, and make sure
Thank
you
you.
follow her on Instagram and check out her
Thanks
work.
for
Melissa
having me.
Ortiz 5. Get on it.
Melissa, when we wrap up every show, we usually do a fun little outro. It'll make all the sense in the world when we do it. So
Okay.
just join
You'll know
in.
exactly
All
what
right.
to do when we do it.
Join in.
Do I need to get warmed up for this?
No,
you know,
not at all.
just, we yell the Cooligans, and
Okay,
it's like a
Yeah,
fun
but
thing.
you'll know exactly
You'll
when
know
and how
exactly
to do
when
it.
to do it.
All right.
So, for Melissa Ortiz, my name is Christian Polanco.
And I'm Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we? The Cooligan!